What's up, y'all? What's going on? Born for Sports. And what can I say? What else is there to say? The Giants, so on brand, bro. So on brand to lose a game like that the way they lost. you know, as the old saying goes by the great Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. And another saying that I always go by, losers find ways to lose, winners find ways to win. And the Giants have shown this year, really for a lot of the past 8 years, if you really want to talk about it, the Giants showed this year they are losers. I mean, to lose the game like that, the way they did. Now, for the Tank crowd, hey, I guess you're happy, but it's more deep now. Now, I've been fighting this for a minute. I've been fighting this. I've been saying to myself, I don't want to change this up. Okay, I don't want to do it because it's just too much with the regime change stuff. Every 2 years, it's not a good look on your organization. It's not good for going around the league with teams looking at the job the way they look at it. But it is clear to me, I can't fight it no more. There has to be change now, man. There has to be change because, and hey, maybe I'm a little late to this party because I've been fighting it. I wanted to see this regime get their quarterback and see what we can do. But I mean, it feels like this is a perfect year for the Giants to just blow it up, man. Just blow it up. They're going to have a high draft pick. They're going to go with their quarterback. And just the ineptitude of this team right now, it's mind-boggling. And I just think there has to be a cleansing, man. There has to be a cleansing. Today, the Giants lose to the Saints, an interim coach team, which means on paper, they're one of the worst coach teams in the league. Okay? They fired their coach weeks ago. And they still fighting out there. Okay? But you was plain to see how bad they are. But it's plain to see how bad we are right now. And I don't know if it's just the coaching. I know what it is. It is coaching. There has to be accountability there. Whenever you're 2-11, your coach ain't good, man. He just ain't good enough for whatever reasons there are. Okay? The GM hasn't been good enough. The draft misses. I like Joe Shane. I like Brian Dable. But it's clear the Giants, they need to go to another direction and just cleanse this whole crap. They need to cleanse this whole bullshit ass, stuck in the mud, just bad organization right now. They are. They just need to cleanse it, man. It's like a burial ground was buried underneath MetLife Stadium. Because the Jets suck too, and they had Super Bowl expectations. But this is not about the Jets. We're here to talk about the team I love, the team we love, our New York Giants. And it's as clear that it's deeper than this, man. It's something deeper going on here, man. It just is. Let's get to the chat, man. Because I'm on a wave of it's time to fire everybody and start over. I've had it. I can't take this no more. And I'm very thankful that because it was killing me today to not go to the game today, but I just had too many things going on my neck of the woods. My wife's birthday weekend as well mixed in there, okay? And just things going on, whether or not cooperating up here. And if I would have went there again to see how we lost today, you can't make it up, man. You just can't make it up. Jose, my fellow Section 330 crew, shout out to the Section 330 crew. Jose is clear. We are on the same page because we have both fought the good fight. But it is time. Fire everyone. I agree with you, bro. It's time. It's just time to cleanse this fucking whole operation, man. And what's crazy is, before the game started, I know everyone's seen it online, all over social media. Somebody paid for, a banner to be flown above MetLife Stadium before kickoff saying, Mara, enough, fix this, whatever it was. I don't even remember the word for word. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, it's time to just blow it up, basically. Basically, the fans have spoken, man. If they're going that far, we know that the ownership is going to react soon now, because now they're being embarrassed because it's everywhere and it's every week. Every week is something different. And now the fans, and I can't blame I love my Giant fan nation. I love my Giant fan nation. I cannot blame anyone for the way they feel, because it's only one fall of this, of why this fan base has been so divided by this organization's moves, by the players' play, is because it's the Giants' fault. We are tired of this shit, man. Of going to MetLife Stadium and watching this slop every week. It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's time to just blow it up. It's going to be the perfect time to do it, too, because they're going to have a high draft pick. You want the new GM. And I'm going to say it right now. I know there's been a little talk like, hey, would you rather keep Dable and just fire Shane, or would you keep Shane and just fire Dable? No. They are a package deal to me. And there should be a package deal to John Mara, because when John Mara hired them, he brought them both from Buffalo. So for it to just be, we'll just get rid of one or the other, it's clumsy and it's ridiculous to do that now. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Blow it up. Ramon, another fellow 330 crew member, my guy. This is the worst period of Giants football I've ever experienced as a fan. Bro, I'll say this. It rivals it. I got to be honest. It rivals it. It does. I know you've been around. I know you've been a Giant fan a long time as well. I felt like this. The only time I felt like this was in the Dave Brown era. It really was when Phil Simms left, okay, and the Giants were just stuck in purgatory, quarterback purgatory, and organizational purgatory with Dave Brown, Kent Graham, you remember the recycle of Dave Brown, Kent Graham, Tommy freaking Maddox, Danny Cannell. Those years were as rough as it was for me as a Giant fan growing up, man, when I was a young dude, when I was a kid. It was rough for me, especially when I was coming off glory years when I was a real young kid with the 80 to 90, the 86 to all the way to the 90s team, those 2 Super Bowls and the great LT, Sims and all of that, Carl Banks, Pepper Johnson, all those guys, and then to go into that. Well, this is a very similar situation. Very similar. The Giants, this Giant franchise seems to always repeat their history in their cycles, because we went from the glory years of the Eli Manning, Strahan, Tuck, OC years, okay, to now this. To this, again in purgatory. It is horrible. I can't take this shit no more. It is time to blow it up. It just is. This is the perfect time, man. You know, if we were like down the draft order and we're like in that no man's land of picking 10th and lower, all that, 10 to whatever, 20, whatever, then okay. You know what? Just hold it down with this regime and see what happens. This is the perfect time to do it, because the job is going to look a little more enticing with the fact that they're going to be picking very high and the new regime can pick their quarterback. Because if you pick the quarterback with this regime and they don't get it done next year, they're going to be gone next year anyway. The way things are going, they're going to be gone. So now Mara's in a situation of, hey, if I keep these guys another year, I basically essentially got to give them 2 years now, because they picked the quarterback. Because now, if I fire these guys, we have another terrible year next year, okay? If I fire these guys, now the new regime has to inherit a quarterback they didn't pick. which is what they did when they inherited Jones. So, no, I don't want to do one or the other. It's either you keep both and run it back, or you get rid of everyone and clean house. It's time to get everyone and clean house. This shit is trash. I can't take watching this shit no more, man. Whether it's in person or on my television, it's terrible. It's terrible. I can't take it no more, man. Cliff checking in. What's goody, bro? Checking in, bro. Yes, sir. I know you're a little upset about your Jets, but I appreciate you checking in with me, man. I appreciate you checking in, man. Always showing love to the channel. Shout out to my guy, Cliff, man. Corey Johnson checking in. Once again, penalties killed the momentum, but this time it took points off the board. Because, Corey, what can I say, my brother? Bad teams find ways to lose games, and this is who we are. This is who we are, bro. And let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it, okay? How about this? The special teams, who's been garbage shit juice, straight shit water all year, they get a punt return touchdown. Guess what? They got called back. Called back. Because, you know, it's just so Giants to that to happen. Called back. And then on the last play of the game, when they finally get down the field and they have a chance to kick the field goal, and after doing shit all game, they finally show a pulse the last two drives of the game with Drew Lock, who I'm going to get to in a minute because I'm tired of his bum ass too. And I warned everybody about this guy when everybody was saying how he's better than Daniel Jones in freaking training camp. And when they finally get something going the last two drives, they get a touchdown run from Tracy, and then they get down the field to tie the game to send it to overtime. What happens? A field goal block to decide the game. Bravo, Giants. You found another way to embarrass us and our fan base to lose a game like that. Congratulations. Congratulations, bro. Unbelievable, bro, that this will happen. This team can't get out of their own way, and they just need to just cleanse it, get any kind of spiritual healing, and just save the whole building. Please save my section 330, please. come give us some of that good roots. You know what I mean? Cleanse this garbage. Cleanse it. And the first way to do it is you got to clean house. It's time. It's time. You got fans flying banners overhead on the stadium to say, give it up, and then you go out and lose like this? I'm done. I can't do it no more. I fought the good fight. I fought the good fight for you guys, Brian Dable and Joe Shane, but I cannot ignore the results. Listen, y'all know me. I'm fair with whatever. Everyone can get it. I don't have favoritism to nobody because about the front of the jersey. Front for me. I want to win games. And if somebody ain't doing the job to win the games, I don't care if I was a fan of you in the past or not. If you ain't winning no championships for me, I can't do it. I just can't do it for you. So when Daniel Jones was playing the way he was playing and not good enough and showed that he wasn't the franchise, I called it out and I was behind it. I wanted him to do well. It didn't work out. And I called a spade the whole time. When he played well, I pointed it out. When he played well, or when he didn't play well most of the time, I had to call it out. Well, you know what? I got to call it out. The regime has not done a good job. They just haven't. Dable has regressed as a coach from year one. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he might as well just say, hey, we tanking. Just come out and say it public. Just come out and say it public, bro. Because at the end of the day, yes, I understand. You're hamstrung with the quarterback play because it isn't good. I get that. I do. I get that. And that is the number one issue with this team, I will say. But it isn't the only issue and the only reason why we are bad. Most of it is because I have to see the roster just isn't good enough, bro. There's no depth on this team. You get one injury to a starter and you're fucked. It sabotages the whole team. Well, you know what? That's on Joe Shane. As much as I like them, like Joe Shane, it's on him, man. He hasn't done good enough with the drafting, man. He just hasn't. He just hasn't. Okay? He just hasn't. And now, of course, Saquon Barkley doing what he's doing, even though I guess I'm one of the rare guys that understand why they decided to move on from Saquon. Okay, because you can't pay a running back the kind of money he's looking for in his later years, okay, when the team isn't ready to win. Only teams that are ready to win a Super Bowl and feel that a running back puts their team on that next level to win it can do those type of moves. The Giants were never in on that, and a lot of fans don't see that. But nevertheless, that's a story for another day. Saquon Barkley is out here having an MVP fucking season, of course, because it's the Giants. Because this is the kind of year the Giants are having. Xavier McKinney, who I like, but he got paid a big contract for safety play. And again, when you don't have a team close to winning Super Bowls, it's very difficult to spend that kind of money on a safety like that. Okay, and I like the acquisition of the draft pick of Newman as well. But again, you can't pay those kind of players that, especially when that's the case. And of course, he's having a great year. Because why? It's the Giants. Everyone that leaves gets better. Everyone that leaves, their teams start winning, and we look like shit. Of course. Of course. This is the type of year the Giants are having. This has been a year from hell, bros. Straight up, man. Straight up. Everything that could have that you felt like, man, this doesn't go wrong, we all right, as long as this doesn't go this way. And everything checked the box of what needed to go wrong. Everything. Because this is so Giants, man. Patrick says, checking in, what's good, Pat? I get intentionally tanking for a quarterback. But damn, this is embarrassing at this point. It is. It is. And honestly, coming into the game, it felt like a tank job. Okay, it did. It felt like a tank job because a lot of players mysteriously popped on the injury report and guys were getting hurt in practice and stuff. Also, I want to give a shout out to Malik Neighbors. That kid had every reason to not play this game, okay? Got some injury in practice, and he decided to give it a go and did what he could. I don't want to hear nobody out there, Giant fans, any fans, say that this kid doesn't care and he's just selfish. Because if he was like that, he could have just said, fuck it, I'm not playing, I don't care. And you could hear him, there's a clip right now on the mic. He's yelling at freaking Brian Dable and the offensive staff. Y'all calling plays like I'm not out here. So that tells me that there's a problem and a disconnect between this coach and this locker room. They play hard, but they're playing hard for themselves. There's something going on between there. And if Neighbors is bringing it up, a rookie's bringing it up, and you heard, and he's not the only one. There's been whispers here and there the last couple of years about how the locker room not feeling Dable like that. Well, when that happens, hey, changes might have to come. It just is what it is. Patrick says we need an Ernie Accorsi. Yeah, we do. We need, in the sense of, and for this era, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Cliff checking in also says, at this point, need to resurrect George Young. Shaking my damn head. Shit, I take Ernie Accorsi. I'll take George Young. At least they knew what they were doing. I mean, they made the right picks, right? And it's a shame because I really felt like Joe Shane strategy was not bad as far as what he tried to do. It's just everything went wrong of the direction we thought it was going to go. In the summertime, man, a lot of people said the Giants made the right moves. But now, can't say that now because it's a results business and it looks bad. I also think if they were able to draft their quarterback this year and trade up to get the quarterback when they attempted to, that maybe and this is why I was reluctant to get rid of this regime, because it would have changed the trajectory of the franchise and how you look at this regime. Well, they didn't get to do it because they didn't get a chance to do it. Okay. Now you got Bo Nix having a good year in Denver. Of course, not everybody. Hindsight is 2020. I didn't hear any Giant fan or any fans saying how the Giants should have drafted Bo Nix 6 overall. But now, because he's playing well, we'll just run with that narrative because we just love to shit on the Giants and take a big dump on them, right? So I'm not going there. people could say that, but it does also the fact that it's a results business and it makes them look bad because it's just another layer to show the flawed results of what Joe Shane and Brian Dable decided to do this offseason, keeping Daniel Jones. When in reality is they tried, but they couldn't because no one was coming off those picks in the first 3 picks. They weren't. And they couldn't get the quarterback that they wanted. And they did not have conviction on Michael Penix. They didn't have conviction on Bo Nix. They didn't have conviction on J.J. McCarthy, who, by the way, J.J. McCarthy hasn't played a snap all season because he was hurt and out for the year. So at the end of the day, everything that could go wrong to make the Giants look bad has gone wrong. And it's just watching the play of this team week in and week out this season, especially at home. That's what drives me nuts. I could take going on the road and shit in the bed and not doing nothing. But just so inept at home in your own building, that's inexcusable, man. That's inexcusable. This Giant team is going to end up without a home win this season, man. They got basically a really good chance because their last 2 home games next week against the Ravens and the Colts in a few weeks. I mean, this schedule, they're going to probably lose out. And how do you bring this regime back losing out? How do you do that? I don't see it. I just don't. Ramon says they haven't flown a banner over the stadium since before we were born. Yeah, I remember that. I remember reading about that, bro. They did do that one time. I think that was in the 70s, I guess. Early 70s, maybe after the Pisarcik fumble or whatever. The Miracle of Meadowlands shit one or whatever. Maybe, I don't even know. Just way before our time. And if the Giant fans are that fed up to do that, you know John Mara's like, I got to do something. Look at the way they lost today on a blocked field goal to end the game after just taking a big dump all over the field against the Saints. And mind you, fellas, I have to say this as well, okay? That Saint defense. The Giants scored 11 points against the 30th ranked defense. Why is it every week this Giant team plays a bad defense or another team? They're the get-right game. They're the get-right game all the time, bro. Especially in our own fucking building at MetLife Stadium, bro. At MetLife. That shit is crazy to me. You know, for all Giant fans who are season ticket members like myself, like the Section 330 crew, like everyone else out there that I know, okay? Like all the fans who pay their hard-earned money, who save up all year just to take their kid to a game, because we all know these prices are insane for a football game. So they plan their whole year to take their kid to a game. And then we are giving our hard-earned money to go watch that flop every fucking week. Every week that slop. Get that shit out of here. Fire everyone. I've had enough. And for all the fans out there that were telling me or saying in the preseason how Drew Lock was better than Daniel Jones. Okay? Better than Daniel Jones. No. They both suck. Drew Lock is worse than him. 21 of 49 interception. He has some rushing yards. This guy is awful, bro. He is awful. Awful. Misses receivers, you know, and listen, I get it. The offensive line wasn't great today, but I thought the offensive line wasn't like a glaring issue. That Saint defense, they didn't really get a lot of pressure too much all the time on him like that. It was some pressures in the game, mostly late. He was missing guys. The secondary on the Saints, they had no fear. They knew Malik Neighbors was coming in the game compromised, and the route tree that they were running. You know, I want to say this too, another red flag for me with David. Before the game, they said, okay, that they wanted to push the ball down the field, and that's why they went to Drew Lock, because they feel like he's better at pushing the ball down the field than DeVito. When did we push the ball down the field? When? Because all I was seeing was dudes running routes 5 to 8 yards in. That's all I saw all game today. Somebody tell me. Just say we tanking, bro, because if you don't say we tanking, you look like you're a fucking moron and you trying to fool us, and we ain't dumb. We not dumb out here. We see it. We know the game. We Giant fans, fellas. We know the game, Brian David. We know the game, Joe Shane. I saw the routes. I looked at it. We didn't push the ball maybe 1 or 2 throws deep to Slayton. That's it. Jalen Hyatt out there running cardio. I didn't see him get any balls thrown his way. So what happened? Drew Lock is garbage. Brian Dable, he's got to go. Joe Shane's got to go. I've had enough. I've had enough of this shit. This is embarrassing every freaking week, man. Every freaking rate. Ramon says, and then we got Bill Parcells and culture change. Yeah, after that situation. Well, this has got to be the time. The only thing is, I'm just not sure about the candidates. You know what I mean? Like, is there really strong candidates out there? I'm not with the Bill Belichick train, man. I'm not. People might be on, and I'm sure that those things will be out there, especially if the Giants make a change with this regime. I'm not on the Bill Belichick train. He's too old. He's too old. Okay. And listen, his style will rub players around the league the wrong way from coming here. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not on that wave. I'm not. Now, you know, Vrabel, I think Vrabel can potentially be that. But is he going to look at this job enticing like that? Maybe. But you're going to have to probably give him a big-ass contract to keep him away from other organizations that might be in better situations than the Giants currently are. Okay? Now, the best thing that's going right now is that the Giants will have a high enough pick to get their quarterback, it looks like. So that is good. So Vrabel would be maybe, or any other coaching candidate could say, hey, I go to an organization that's 5-star type of organization that's one of the founding father franchises to run from the league, and an owner who's loyal and gets out of the way, whatever the case you want to call it. You know what? Maybe I might want to go there. But there's going to be other jobs, and that might be more enticing than the Giants, to be honest, because this shit needs a upheaval. This is not going to be an overnight thing, man. Now, getting the quarterback right is important, and probably the most important thing, because it can change the trajectory of a franchise to not be where we're at right now. So that is the biggest key. We have to find our quarterback, but we also have to find the right regime to build around and support that quarterback. And you know what? Ben Johnson, I don't think he's going to want to come here. I don't see that. Unless he's in love with one of these quarterbacks coming out, I don't see that. Aaron Glenn is a guy who I wouldn't mind either. You know, I like Aaron Glenn, from the defensive coordinator of the Lions. He's a guy I think would be a nice candidate. Defensive-minded guy. You know, maybe he could bring some of that here. You know, but first-time coordinators, man, we don't know what they're going to be. You know, so hey, we'll see what happens with the coaching cycle when Black Monday comes, when the season's over. We will see. But, man, I know Mara is saying he's going to keep this regime, but it's going to be a tough sell, man. It is going to be a tough sell. It is time to just gut this shit and go another direction. AMAC DJ Blaze, what's goody, bro? Checking in. He wasn't going to have that season with us, bro. What do you mean he was going to have that season with us? I don't know what I got to track. I guess you're talking about Brian Dable. One more game closer to getting a quarterback. Yeah, that's really where we're at now. We're playing out the string with 2-11. That's all we can say, man. We're going to be high enough to get that quarterback. And that's the bottom line at this point, because we gotta find it. We got to find it. It's the most important decision in the franchise's history right now. Maybe ever, to be honest, based on where we are at. We are a floundering franchise, just going a different direction, man. Just a different direction. And it's not the right direction. And it's been going on too long. Too long. Cliff says, co-sign about Saquon. I know Big Blue fans are sick to his stomach seeing him thrive with the Eagles. But moving off him was the right move because he wouldn't have had the same success this year. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I know there's fans out there that don't want to hear that. And they probably have this thing in their head like, hey, Saquon would have been doing what he's doing with the Eagles right now and the Giants. We stupid for letting him go. No, he was not. He was not going to do this. He wasn't. The Giants team is not on the level of the Eagles as much as I hate to say that. And it kills me to say that. I hate the fucking Eagles, Cowboys, and Commanders. But we're behind on that fucking lap. We're trailing. We're not even in the race with those teams right now. Y'all really thought that Saquon was going to do this here? He wasn't going to do this here, man. He was not going to do this here. He was not. He was not. It was the right strategy. The problem is they didn't get the quarterback. Daniel Jones didn't get to where they needed to go. And he didn't get his development where we needed him to be. Okay, because there is more talent on the team than there's been the last couple of years, but it just wasn't good enough. Okay, it just wasn't good enough. Let me check Saquon's. Saquon, look at this. I'd see here today, he broke the franchise record. So he broke the Eagles record for yards from script. I mean, anything that could go wrong with the Giants has gone wrong this year. This has been a utter disaster season. It has been a disaster. There's no other way to put it, man. It has been a disaster. Everything that you felt like, man, as long as this doesn't happen, and as long as this doesn't happen, and as long as this doesn't happen, you will be able to stomach this thing going forward. And guess what? Everything happened. Everything. Blaze says, I still think that they made the right decision. I was expecting anything for the season. Yeah, I still think they made the right decision as well. But it just looks so bad because now it just shows like everything isn't good enough. It just isn't good enough right now, man. It just isn't good enough, bro. Nothing. The roster isn't good enough. The quarterback play isn't good enough. There's just been too many draft misses, man. It's just been too many draft misses, bro. Just too many. What do you call it? Evan Neal. Terrible pick. First round pick. The first year, Deontay Banks. He's been bad. He regressed this year. And you got to wonder if he even fits the scheme. He's been awful this year. He was our first round pick in 2023. After the 2022 season, obviously. He was a miss. He's not a number one. And you got to say, we don't even know if he's a number two corner. That first year draft class, I looked at it a couple of weeks ago, and it's not good, man. There's a lot of misses in there, man. A lot of misses. This draft class that Shane and this organization had today, this year, I should say, has basically saved Shane in the conversation to come back. And honestly, everything else, it just isn't good enough. The way the results are, you can't even bring him back now. I don't think. You can't. You either clean house, which I think they should now, or you let them pick the quarterback, and you got to give them 2 years after that. And can we say right now, are we confident that this thing is going to be turned around in 2 years with this same regime? I can't say that. As much as I want to, and I try to talk myself into it the last few weeks, I can't say that, man. It's a results business. I can't ignore the results, man. It just is bad. This might be the worst Giants season that we've ever had when the end of the season goes. This might be the worst season this organization is going to ever have in the franchise's history in their 100th season anniversary. A celebration of 100 years, and you come out there and do this? I'm sorry, man. It just is what it is. A-Mac says this season is basically us paying for drafting a running back second overall. We knew we had to rebuild, but people fell for that playoff season as we were close. Well, it is what it is. Like I've said plenty of times, I was on board with taking Saquon that year because I basically wanted to run it back with Eli. I wanted Eli to get his last run. I just felt like everything was just not right and was not on Eli. And I wanted to see if we could get one last run with him and Saquon, along with adding to what we had with Odell Beckham. I just felt like we had a chance to give him one last run. Now, in hindsight, was it the right decision? Obviously it isn't, because like I said, it's about results with me. But at the time, I just can't say that. I'm not going to flip it and say, hey, man, what the hell? Why did the Giants do that? Because I was one of those guys, you know what I'm saying? Now, ultimately, it was the wrong decision because we could have had Josh Allen right now. But we don't. We don't. We could have had Lamar Jackson. We don't. And even the guy that I actually wanted that year, we did take Saquon, Sam Darnold. I felt I wanted Sam Darnold, you know what I'm saying? And obviously it didn't work out his first few seasons in the league, but now look what he's doing now. He's looking like the quarterback that I thought he could have been. Everything that has gone wrong for this franchise has gone wrong. Anything that could have gone wrong has, man. And it's time to just cleanse it, man. It is just time to just cleanse this burial ground and bones of despair and just terrible play, man. It's time. They can't say they're tanking because they will get fined, but they're showing out. Yeah, I know. I mean, what they did with the manipulating the injury report, what they did with the injury report this week and then sending all these guys, it's clear that they're like, hey, if we win, we win, we win. But, however, these coaches are still trying to win games as well because maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe Mara did tell her, hey, guys, you guys will be back. Don't worry about it. But this continues. I wouldn't get too comfortable if I'm Brian Dable or Joe Shane because now the fans are just getting louder now, flying banners and whatnot. I mean, outside on top in the air in the stadium, it's getting crazy out here, man. It's just getting crazy. And I don't see how this is going to be a situation where, let's say, for instance, they do finish 2-15. Let's just say that. Or even 3-14. Are they really going to come back? Is John Mara going to be trusted enough to come back? To come back and tell us as a fan base, well, don't worry about it, guys. We'll be drafting a quarterback. Let's run it back with the same shit results and terrible roster that we have. I don't see it. I don't see it, man. I don't see that's where it's going to happen. Ramon checking in. Who's the pick, though? Sanders, Water, Beck. I don't want nothing to do with Carson Beck. I think that dude is overrated. He was overrated coming into the season. I was never on Carson Beck. I never thought he was what people were trying to hype. I know in this league, we got a lot of scouts and GMs. They love the traits of Beck. I personally don't see it like that. Now, if I'm not taking him first round, I'll tell you that. And I prefer not to take him at all. Okay. Now, if you told me 4th round, 5th round, I guess maybe it's a discussion, but I'm not on the Carson Beck wave, Ramon. I'm just not. I don't see it with him. I don't see it. I know he's played better the last few weeks, the past, maybe 6 weeks or whatever, but I just don't see it with him, man. I don't see it. And I do know that a lot of the roster left, went to the NFL in the draft. But it also goes to show you that, you know, hey, maybe it was more of the roster than him. As far as Sanders and Ward goes, I'm in on either one of those guys. I think these guys are the 2 top players in the position of this draft. Either it's a matter of preference. Shedeur Sanders has it. He's really good with the pocket. You know, he's a real good pocket passer. He reminds me of C.J. Stroud a lot. He does. He got that Stroud skill set. I like him a lot in that sense. The only thing with him is his arm strength, which, hey, he could get better as he gets strong because he's a real slender build kid. His arm strength, to me, isn't as good as the other quarterbacks that are being mentioned. That's the only thing. But he can get stronger. He can get stronger in the league. He's gonna get on that adult muscle weight. Hey, I'm all on Shedeur Sanders. He's good. I like him a lot. Cam Ward is another guy that I like a lot too, and might have the highest ceiling if you may, because this is a guy that has a stronger arm. He's better off platform than Sanders is, I would say. He can make the questionable decisions as far as trying to make something out of none, but you could coach that. You could coach that. You could coach that, I think. He's got all the other tools. Strong arm, accurate, as Sanders has as well. Good anticipation throws. I love that about quarterbacks. You got to have anticipation. You got to have that. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that, man. And also, when things break down, he makes plays. He's got that kind of that Caleb Williams type of improv in him. But I think he has a very good understanding of anticipation throws, more so than a lot of quarterbacks like Caleb has and these guys and stuff like that. Shedeur has the anticipation throws too. He's really good at that, but he's a pocket passer. Honestly, give me one or the other. It's a matter of preference. I'm going to do a more of a deep dive when the season ends on which guy. I've been watching college football all season, watching these kids play. I like Jalen Milroe as well, but I'm not sure if he's the guy you want to pick that high in the draft. Maybe a second-round pick, or maybe you jump back in the first round late. I don't know. But I think the two guys with the conviction for me, as right now, I have to say it's got to be Shedeur and Cam in either order you like, man. Ramon says, or do they go completely left field and sign someone like Darnold and show up their offensive line? Just a thought. Well, I think the only way they do that is if they fall way out away from the quarterback that they can take. And I don't see that happening. They're going to keep losing. Now, if they was to fall to like that 8, 10, whatever range down there, then maybe that's a thought. I also think that they're going to end up signing a veteran quarterback regardless. If you go back to the Giants' history whenever they have drafted a quarterback, and they've only drafted 2 quarterbacks in the past, 20-something years now, because of the great Eli Manning, future Hall of Fame Eli Manning. He played 17 years. When he was drafted, they signed Kurt Warner the same season. Kurt, as we all know, Kurt started the season until Eli was ready. And even though the team had a winning record, they went to Eli because they felt he was ready. And we all know the story the rest of the season. They ended up losing most of their games. But it was instrumental in his progress because the following season, they ended up winning the division, making the playoffs. And we all know what happened after that. Eli, 17 years later, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, the whole shebang, future Hall of Famer. When Daniel Jones was drafted, Eli was still here. Eli started the season, and then they made the change and switch to Daniel Jones. So this has been the pattern with the Giants, how they like to do things, and I wouldn't think I don't have any kind of feeling they would do anything different. I think they'll sign a veteran player, maybe a Jameis Winston, depending on what they can do. Sam Darnold's going to be looking for money. He's going to be looking to get paid, and rightfully so. He's having a great year, and he's followed that Geno Smith, Ryan Tannehill route for his career. And, I just think that he's going to be looking to be starting for a team that needs a quarterback for a team ready to win. He's going to be in that tier. I think he's going to be out the Giants' price range if they draft a quarterback. I don't think they'll go there. I don't think they'll go there at all. Blaze says, Joe Judge taking a knee on 4th, and the goal line was rock bottom. Yeah, that was rock bottom as well. That was terrible. But, man, bro, look at what's going on, man. Even that Joe Judge team wasn't 2 and whatever, man. And even at that time, they weren't flying banners overhead in that stadium, man. Oh, Joe Judge, what a brutal coach. He was a terrible coach. Mind you, I will say he was the worst coach we've had since Ray Handley. Got to say that. At least Brian Dable got to the playoffs and won a playoff game. I miss that Brian Dable. I miss that version of him. I don't know what this guy is. I don't know. I don't know. Not all on him, though. DJ Blaze also says, is Clemson doing the same thing every 3 years, switching general manager and coach? Well, bro, to be fair, it was every 2 years. Okay, it was every 2 years. Shermer, Judge, they got 2 years and that was it, and rightfully so. But this feels worse than that. This feels worse than that, bro. This feels worse than that. I'm sorry. It does. It feels worse than that. I mean, look, and I'm going to tell you why it feels worse. Because the entire division is way ahead of us. At that time, at least, listen, Shermer was there. Hey, the Cowboys were meddling. The Eagles were kind of meddling or whatever, but they got their Super Bowl. But they kind of were like in that okay, they were the best of the worst. You know what I'm saying? When Joe Judge got here, well, his first year we were 6-10, and Washington had a 7-9 record and got to the playoffs. Fugazi. We always could lean on the fact that we were better than the Commanders. Look around now, bro. We're way behind the Commanders and the other two teams. And let's be honest, even though the Cowboys are having a bad year, Dak is hurt, okay? We all know that when Dak is healthy, they would have won games, and they're still winning games now with Cooper Rush. They're better than we are. They're better than we are. They got way more talent than we do. We're trailing the other three teams in the division. We're not going to win a divisional game the entire season. You know when that's happened as a Giant fan? Never. I have never seen it, bro. I've never seen it. A season where we didn't win a divisional game. We could always, I was on here in the summertime and early in the season. And I did shows on other platforms with my guy TP Wade, with the Giant Way. Shout out to those guys and everything. We did shows and we talked, and I said it at the time. One thing us as Giant fans we could always count on was Washington being our medicine whenever we were sick. And now we can't even do that. We can't even do that. We're the sick team now, and we got COVID flu now. Because at the end of the day, Washington's better than us. They got their quarterback. Okay, and it looks like now they got a front office and ownership that knows what ownership will see, but it looks like their front office finally has a clue of what they're doing. They know what they're doing. We got the worst coach and GM in the division right now, if you think about it. We are the worst. We are the Commanders now. We are one of the worst teams now. We are worse than that. We are bottom feeder. We're in that Carolina tier right now. And look at them. They at least compete and they winning games. They pushed the Eagles today. They beat us. They're out there playing. Looks like they got their quarterback now, so they're ahead of us too. We are in rock bottom now, and I didn't even think it could get worse than that. And this is why I'm saying all this. At the time when that Joe Judge shit was going on, hey, we at least weren't the worst team. It was a debate. It's not even a debate no more where we're at and who we are now. It's time to blow it up, man. It's time to blow it up. Ramon says, and he's only 27 still. Yeah. Donald's only 27, and he's in that tier. Hey, I like I said, I mentioned I actually wanted Sam Darnold to be the quarterback pick if the Giants did go quarterback that draft season. Now, obviously, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were the obvious picks they should have made, but now Sam Darnold looked like he's found it now, and he's in that class now. He's in that tier now of, hey, you can win with him if everything is around him okay or good. Minnesota's proven that. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, if the Giants fell away from their top targets for quarterback in the draft and wanted to go there and see if they could just go next year and reevaluate, I'll be all for that. But they got to get their quarterback this year. And I want our quarterback. I want our guy. I want to draft one. And it's Shedeur Sanders or it's Cam Ward. It's one of the two, whatever preference it is. Right now, I don't have it. I'm good with either one as the pick. I am. I just think that's the direction we need to go. We need to go there because like I said, like I keep saying, we trail the race. The 3 teams in our division, they have lapped us twice, basically. I guess, well, you can say Washington's lapped us once. The other 2 teams, Eagles and Cowboys, they've lapped us twice now. We're way behind everybody. We got to find our guy. Simple as that. And that's the only way you change the trajectory of a franchise that is in where the Giants are at right now. You got to find your quarterback. They obviously whiffed on Daniel Jones. They whiffed, okay? No matter what you feel about out there, why they whiffed, they whiffed. They did. So now, and this regime knew they whiffed, okay, because they tried to attempt to trade up last April and in the draft season they couldn't. So they knew they were screwed. They knew it. They knew they had to. They might not even get to have a. They might not even get to get their guy that they wanted, because not in my wildest dreams did I think that we were going to be this bad. I felt like we were good quarterback play away from being good if we were healthy, but there's been major regression. Also, this defensive coordinator, he stinks. Get him out of here. And I'm not saying that we lost because of him today, because hey, the defense did all they could out there, man. Considering what was out there, hey, I got nothing to say really bad about the defense. But the results are the results. The results are the results, man. They have not been good this year. And even though they were good against the run today, because it looked like the Saints just were cold out there, they're inept too. They couldn't hardly run the ball that well. But there was some missed tackles again. Miller running that ball in there. He was stood up at like the 7-yard line, and with like 4 or 5 Giants holding him, and they all got him in the end zone. Bad tackling. But I'm not here to complain about the defense. I thought the defense they did all they could with what we had out there, considering. They did all they could, But I'm not a fan of Bowen. I'm not. I've evaluated it as much as I could. His defense his scheme does not fit the personnel here. And I am not for the let's sit back and wait and attack. I'm not with that, because it showed early in the season when he started to play a more aggressive defense attacking. We were leading the league in sacks. We were making plays, and we don't even get turnovers. You know why we don't get turnovers? Because number one, our DBs aren't that, our corners are not that great. And number two, the scheme isn't for them to attack the ball. It's to just don't let them get by you. Get that weak shit out of here. That soft, laid back, and hope for them. Nah, get that out of here, man. That's not Giant football. Say what you want about Wink. And listen, I'm not a fan of how Wink left, okay? But one thing's for sure, he's better than this guy. Bowen sucks. This coaching staff sucks, man. It just isn't good enough. It isn't good enough. It was a bad decision, and that's on Dable, and that's on Shane for picking this guy. Kafka wasn't that good either. They picked him, and now they pick him. Now, Wink was the best coach we had. And the offensive line coach now is our best coach now on the team right now. That's sad. That's sad. Corey Johnson says Giants are going to make the worst history of being 0-6 in the division and winless at home in one season. Shaking my head. Yeah, man. That's where we're heading. We're not winning the division game. Forget it. If the Eagles, especially if the Eagles, I don't even think we would beat them even if the Eagles didn't need the game. And we all know Saquon is chasing history. You think he ain't going to want to go run that ball and do it against the team that let him walk? We're not beating that team. In Philadelphia, nah, not happening. And they're playing for something. They're playing for their division, and they're playing for home field advantage. You know what I'm saying? So we're not winning the division game. And the home games, like I mentioned earlier, next week against the Ravens, good luck. They're not winning that game. Raven fans are about to infiltrate MetLife Stadium, come up here and make that shit Baltimore Ravens Stadium basically next week. Because if you looked at what was out there today, it sounded like more Saint fans out there, because there was nobody at the stadium. No Giant fans went to bother for that slop. And look, wasn't good. So, yeah, I see that's what's happening. We will get through this, man. This is pain of the rebuild. Jones was a getter. Hey, listen, man. Jones was Gettleman's last gift for us Giant fans. Yeah. But you know what's crazy now? And I'm looking around the league, all Gettleman's picks are now prospering in other places. That's another thing that looks bad on this regime, bro. Think about a lot of Gettleman's picks out there are doing well on other teams, bro. We can't ignore that. We can't ignore that no more. McKinney, he's doing well. Saquon's doing well. Who we complain about? You're complaining. A lot of people complain about him second overall. He's doing what he's doing, but we know he can play. We know it. McKinney's out in Green Bay having a hell of a year. Look at all the ex-players of the Gettleman picks. They're out there doing better on other teams. I mean, I don't know, man. It's everything is just a perfect shitstorm right now for this team this year. It has really gone the other direction. Everything that could have went wrong has gone wrong. And that's what I was saying to myself in week one. I said, the only way this regime doesn't survive is if everything goes wrong that could go wrong. And guess what? This year, everything that could go wrong has. Everything. Dizzy, what's good? Thanks for checking in, my brother. I have no words. Will we get through this? It's going to take a lot more than Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Neither I'm sold on to fix this. Oh, yeah, of course. Listen, I'm not here to say that the quarterback was we take any of these guys now, all of a sudden we're a Super Bowl caliber team next year. But I'll tell you what, we're going in the right direction from rock bottom where we're at right now. I get there's going to be pessimism about whether Sanders or Cam Ward are franchise quarterbacks. I do think they are. And I think, and I want to give a shout out to my guy, Big Dash Knows, okay? For those who are not aware, go subscribe to that man channel, one of the best Giant fan content creators out here. He made a great point a couple of weeks back on a show I was on with a lot of other great content creators that we did a few weeks ago on TP Way the Giant on that summit that we had. He made a great point. It's not that this quarterback class isn't good. It's not as generational as last year's class because last year's class, you had so many quarterbacks, they made history as the most quarterbacks taken in the first round. So I think a lot of people think because they don't have this kind of a draft class where there's like 6 possible first-round quarterbacks that will be taken, that this quarterback class isn't good enough because of these 2 guys. I don't think so. I think these 2 guys would have been first-round quarterbacks if they would have came out last year. Okay? It's an ordinary draft class, as my guy Dash said, and that's exactly what's going on. In most years, there's only maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks per class that you'll say, all right, you know what? These guys have the franchise quarterback potential. I don't think that these guys are bad because I remember last year Shedeur was talked about. If he would have came out, he was definitely a first-round round pick in that same class. But he decided not to because wisely, Deion Sanders, his father, said, we're going to keep him out this year because we want him to go to the right organization, and we know he'll be the top guy, if not the second guy taken. Hey, we got to put things in perspective. This quarterback class is not bad. It just isn't generationally deep as it was last year. And just my opinion. And Dash was very right on what he said that, and he is right on that, and I totally agree with that. Diz says I'll take Drew Aller over both of them. Bet on those. I'm not ready to go there. I think Drew Aller. Listen, I know the traits are antagonizing, but I'm not first round that high. I'm not taking him over those 2 guys. I can't do that. Now, if you want to talk to me about if he's there in the second round and you pass on a quarterback, then there's a discussion. But I'm not passing on those 2 guys for him. No. The Giants are in a position where they cannot gamble drafting a project that high in the first round. They did that with Daniel Jones, and they got torched. They got torched for it, and look at where we're at now. I can't do that. I can't. I like Aller's traits. I do. I like Drew Aller's traits, but there's too much inconsistency with his play over these last 2 years with him. He has improved this year. I have seen a few Penn State games this year compared to last year. I do get that. But I just think this is too important to draft. They got to get this right, man. They got to get this right. We cannot afford to gamble on a project that high in the first round. Because I do think we're going to be high in the picking. We're going to be high. And I just seen the Jags won today. So the Giants are probably what? I don't know the result of the rate again. They probably lost 2. But right now they're low. I guess no lower than 2 right now. So they're gonna get. I can't. If the draft ended, if the season ended and we drafted today, I cannot take Drew Aller second overall. I can't, and definitely not first overall. I can't do that. This also says it's going to go high. Don't be surprised. He's not a project, and he's far better prospect from Daniel Jones. He's got something to work on though. And he also says, I'd rather sign Sam Darnold and trade down. Man, I don't know, Diz. I don't know, man. I mean, there's going to be plenty of time to discuss that. Let's see how it goes. There's always those high risers out of nowhere that teams have during the draft process that kind of comes out of nowhere. And a lot of times those guys be the ones that get GMs and coaches fired. Zach Wilson, you know what I mean? He's one of those guys. High riser late. Didn't hear nothing about him until the draft process. Look what he did. Okay? There's plenty of times we've seen that over the years. We'll do a deep dive in there. I'm just not. I just can't, bro. I just can't take Drew Aller first or second overall. I can't do it. I can't. I like the traits. I do like the traits, and I like his prospect, his traits, and what he's shown, his improvement as a quarterback this year. I can't take him first, second overall. Not that high. And if I'm trading down, which I do not want to do, man, I better get a Godfather deal. I better get at least 2 first-round picks in the future to do that. And I don't think there's going to be a team that's going to do that. That's that desperate. I don't know. Maybe Tennessee gets desperate, maybe. Maybe they do. The Saints, I don't know. Maybe they do that. Then it's something to consider because I don't think those teams will be good for a couple of seasons. So maybe you can luck out there if you don't believe in the quarterbacks that are going to be available that high. Then we can discuss it. But I'm all in on getting a quarterback this year. I just can't. I can't punt it this time. No, I can't. No, I've had too much of Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tyrod Taylor, who has been the best of the bunch. I can't do it no more. I just can't do it no more. I want to get my guy this year. And this is the time to strike because there's no guarantee that you're going to be picking that high the next couple of seasons. There's no guarantee that. Anything can happen in the NFL. Look what happened in 2022. We thought we were going to have that kind of a season that we're having this year. The regime straight showed like they didn't pick up Daniel Jones' option that year. They didn't make moves in the offseason to sign free agents. And what happened? They went out and had a playoff win that year out of nowhere. Nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. I'm not punting it this time. Not if I'm picking that high. Cliff says, it kills me when other teams fans just run roughshod at Giants and Jets games, but the state of New York football, right? Yeah, New York football is a disaster. Straight disaster, bro. The Jets are a train wreck. And they had Super Bowl aspirations. They're a train wreck. Okay? And we all see what's going on. Now, coming into the season, I felt like if we got the quarterback play we needed from Daniel Jones, and with the talent stayed healthy because there wasn't a lot of depth, we would have a chance to compete for a playoff spot. Well, none of that happened. Nothing. Health, compete, none of this stuff happened. Daniel Jones, none of it happened. So, yeah. This said they had a weak schedule sucking me into season tickets. Oh, well. Yeah, they did have a weak schedule, but, hey, they had a roster that was supposedly as weak as a schedule, and they won games. They found ways to win. The coaching staff, basically, they outkicked their coverage. And that ultimately cost us. Because where we're at right now, we're in the abyss right now. We're in the abyss. We're in the abyss. We're in a black hole that we are just in a different galaxy from where we need to be. And this year, is the ideal year to do it. It's the ideal to do it. You got to go get your quarterback, man. You got to go get your guy. Yeah, that's true. The NFL for you. Damn right it is. It's a year-to-year league, man. But like I said, if you don't have your quarterback, forget about it. You're gonna be in quarterback hell where you'll have a season like 2022 every 6-7 years. That is not who the Giants are supposed to be and how I don't want them to be, and we all don't want them to be. So, hey, it is what it is. That's going to wrap up today's show, man. Today's post-game show. Once again, the Giants finding another way to lose in a train wreck fashion, 14-11 to the Saints with an interim special teams coach. They find a way to lose on a blocked field goal to end the game. They fall to 2-11 and just continue to wallow in the abyss of purgatory as a franchise, and just headed nowhere fast. You know what I'm saying? Going forward, we all know what it is, man. It's about draft positioning right now, man. And obviously what the Giants did this week, manipulating the injury report, we all know what's going on. But also, they're not helping and doing themselves any favors with the way they're playing on the field, especially in their own freaking building. 0-7 at MetLife Stadium. I don't remember a season where I've ever seen the Giants not win a home game. And me, as a season ticket holder, that's a slap in the face, man. And to all my fellow season ticket holders out there, hey, hang in there. Hang in there, my guys and gals. Hang in there. Our loyalty is being tested, but we're going to be there at the end. We always going to be there. We're going to always support. But, hey, this is dark times, man. This is dark times. It's a franchise this team is having, man. This is dark times. And the only way to get out of it is we're going to have to clean house, and we're going to have to burn it down, man. Just is what it is. That's where we're at right now. And I don't know if John Mara feels that way. I know he's starting to feel like that based on the body language I've seen from him. And if you see Jones Jane again today, they showed him in these press boxes, he looks like a man worried about his job. And he should be, as is Brian Davis. So that's going to wrap it up. Before I do, I just want to say thanks for rocking with me out there. And I'm going to ask all the newcomers to like and subscribe to the channel Born for Sports. As you can see, diehard Giant fan. We talk about it all. We talk about it all sports. And if you want to talk about sports, you come to this channel, especially if you want to talk about New York sports. I talk Giants, I talk Mets, I talk Rangers, I talk Yankees, I talk Jets, whatever you want to talk. Knicks, of course, our New York Knicks, who look like they are going to save us, even though they had a bad loss the other night. But we talk Knicks as well. They're getting it together. I talk about it all here in the world of sports, especially New York sports. So I just ask that you guys give me a like and a subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Next week, Ravens come to town, and it's going to probably be a massacre. And it's probably going to be another way for the Giants to go rock bottom next week, man. I'm telling you, this is headed to just purgatory and abyss that we're at. It's just unbelievable. But this is where we're at, and we got to face it. And we got to accept that this is not the right regime to lead us out of the abyss. And we're at rock bottom. And you know what? It's going to get worse from here on out. We got a few more weeks left to this horrid season. It's going to be more bumps in the road. Let's see where it goes. But that's going to wrap it up. Like and subscribe to Born for Sports. Let's go, Giants.